I'm audible, right?
Yes, we're on the air. Good afternoon and welcome to Social Media Fridays on Monday, episode 66. 66, Edwin. Um, we meet to discuss items of interest which pop up through the week. They're posted on the Social Media on Fridays, Social Media Fridays on Monday community. And uh, With us tonight, we have Edwin Jonk. Edwin is CEO of IDEST Host in the Netherlands. You can find Edwin on idesthost.nl. Masataki Wasa is webmaster of wasaweb.net in the UK. And Masataki is also a top contributor on the AdSense and the Google Plus Help community. Meher Bhagat is a social media dynamo and human resources specialist from New Delhi in India. Okay, so our first question tonight, or our first topic, I should say, is that Facebook and Twitter told to rethink autoplay video. I don't know who told them, but this was the case of the journalist and cameraman shot on air. Comments on this one, guys?
Well, first some background. The murderer periscoped this event. His account was blocked or removed, but still the footage that people shared on Twitter and on Facebook had autoplay on it, so people were quite shocked about it.
Yeah, and this kind of thing happens with other types of dreadful content, like beheading videos and things like that. We can see that happening with similar materials like that. So there are huge issues. The implications are wide-ranging, and obviously it's a part of this broader question of how should social media platforms police the content that are posted on their platforms.
Yeah, because journalists have rules and regulations how to treat things like these. I followed this story that particular morning, and the first reports they did show the periscoping of the murderer, and that was basically somewhat like a first person. And later on, they removed those footage from their own site and only told that the murderer was periscoping his murders. It's quite horrifying, to be honest. But you need the news outlets need to have access to that particular periscope, because they need to verify that it did happen, and they basically need to verify. So you want the media to have access to that particular periscope or video, but you don't want to have the general public to access those footage, because it's horrifying, it's disrespectful for the victims. So how should social media deal with this?
I had a very interesting thought when I was reading this. See, for videos, you still have a control because there is a platform for it, like YouTube is there, Periscope is there, a lot of other platforms are there. Even to upload the videos, for example, on Facebook, you need to upload it, right? You still have control over these kind of videos, right? But when it comes to GIFs, you cannot control it. You cannot, it can be uploaded from anywhere. It just it has to be uploaded, right? It can be uploaded from anywhere, from any desktop or anything, you still don't have control because it's a very general image or content type of image. But when it comes to video, you still have some security measures that you can follow, but not for chips. And autoplay is something that I am not in favor of. I don't believe, Instagram here I like because, for to watch that video, you just have to tap on it and you start watching, right? It just doesn't play like that on a random basis. And just imagine videos automatically start playing.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe
yeah.
no sound, but it's still playing.
Of course, the autoplay is one thing because if this autoplay, people don't make the choice to play that particular footage. But I think the broader question is, how should social media deal with these kinds of videos? The media is bound by certain regulations, mostly drafted by themselves. And on social media, it seems to be like a Wild West where people can show these videos, terrible videos. Should they self-censor or?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too, but it will be quite hard because you do want to have it algorithmically, right? And that is quite hard for computers to do if you're going to do this manually.
I'm not sure. I mean, if they've got software that can discern between a female nipple and a male nipple, surely they can figure out, a severed head.
Yeah, that's true. But on the same,
most bodies have a head on top.
On the other hand, it can be a video game as well, right? So.
Yeah. I think a lot of it still it still relies on human interventions, and that I think all these platforms do have algorithmic methods, but at the same time, I think they are dependent on reports, things being reported to them, and then there's someone, probably somewhere like in the Philippines, who will look at the actual image, actual video, and decide whether to allow it or not. It's a very interesting question, isn't it? Because the social media platforms are so important now. It's part of the media landscape. It's part of our daily lives for many of us. And they have essentially assumed the role, which they probably didn't think they would have to. They have assumed the role of deciding what is okay, what isn't okay. So, there are clear-cut cases like this one, or, beheading videos by Islamic State. Things like that shouldn't be shown. I think that's quite clear. But, where do you draw the line?
Yeah, but on the other hand, it should be made accessible for media, right?
Yeah.
Because the media has to verify the footage.
Yeah. So that's the thing, isn't it? Because in a sense, the media organizations are trained, as it were, to do that thing. So in a sense, there is a proper editorial team. There would be fact-checking, and they would lose credibility if they get things wrong. Whereas that kind of pressure doesn't really exist for social media platforms necessarily. It will have bad publicity, so even if they get things really wrong, then they will have very adverse publicity. But it's not as if they have very, very clear procedure and editorial team that's transparent to outside. I think they do have internal systems to make sure that nothing untoward is permitted on the platform. But still, it's a very different nature from a media organization, and it's going to be interesting how social media platforms react to certain situations in different countries, because there are different thresholds in different countries for what kind of things they would allow on evening news or television. There is no single standard across the world as such, to differ from one country to another. But these social media platforms operate across the world, so they would have to come up with, in most cases, a standard that's applicable everywhere, and that's tough. I mean, they probably will have to create that standard because there's no legislative body that could do it for them.
No, but they also have to think by themselves what they have to do. For example, what's general in the media is that advertisement and the journalists are separated, right? The journalist does not sell ads, or the people that sell the ads are not journalists. So there's a clear boundary between them, right? That's quite international. Not in every country, of course, but so something like that maybe better for social media, where they say, well, this is a clear line. But on the other hand, if they remove it, the media cannot verify, so they need to open it for the media.
It's really tough, isn't it? Because there's the element of things coming down to individual morality and ethics. People will have to think: should I upload this? Should I reshare this? Sometimes wonder why people reshare things.
Yeah, because this gunman, you really don't want to give him a platform, right? He periscoped it. I think it was Periscope, maybe it was Meerkat. Not sure. It doesn't say in the article, but it was clear that he wanted a platform to show his footage, which is just disgusting, and you really don't want him to have that stage, right?
That is just one case. There are millions of people, there are spammers all around. Who does that?
Oh yeah, for sure. People that see this footage, they see that Twitter, or they guess that Twitter is blocking it, so they copy it and put it on their own blog or website or YouTube and try to make some money from advertisement. That happens, and that's sad. And I also think that the general public, there should be a general feeling like, okay, this footage is disrespectful for the victims. We don't want to give the murderer a platform here, so I'm not going to watch. Right?
Yeah. No, I hadn't ever watched beheading videos. There were many posted, right, by Islamic State. But I came across one because I had to moderate Google Plus communities, and it was it's a GIF, so it played automatically.
Yeah.
And I was really angry. Because I never watched out of choice. I think it's not something that I would ever want to watch. And then I was moderating a community, and essentially I couldn't avoid it. And that was, that really made me angry, actually. And to be honest, it made me angry both towards the person who posted it and towards Google Plus for allowing it to be posted.
And still, it is self-censoring, so I'm pretty sure people in the United States don't like it, but or sometimes they do. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, we seem to, because I don't know how to put it, but we seem to forget our humanity in posting things sometimes, and we justify that by saying it's freedom of expression.
Yeah, yeah.
When when it's just mere abandonment of moral compass and ethics.
Yeah, yeah. There are limits, especially here in Europe, for the freedom of speech. And in this case, to me, there is no freedom of speech because um, and they are, or the murderer is hurting other people, right? So there cannot be a freedom of speech for the murderer if he does things like this, right? That cannot be the case, or at least here in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is that there are different rights in a sense that competing, and sometimes it's very difficult to say which one takes precedence over what. And it's judgment call in many cases. But if you say that, I think I don't. Sorry, I think some people seem to think that freedom of speech is an absolute freedom, in that it overrides absolutely everything else. That I don't agree with.
No, absolutely not. It's not an absolute right or freedom. Basically, when a right goes into somebody else's rights, right? When you're hurting other people because of your freedom, that's the end of the freedom, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're free to do whatever you wish to do, so long as you do not harm others.
Yeah. It's biblical, almost.
More, I think more J.S. Mill.
Okay. Have we covered this?
I think so, yes. Unless you want to talk about it.
Look, I think I said self-censorship. I don't think if they're not going to self-censor, then I think there's a case, and I'm not in favour of censorship, but some things are just beyond the beyond, and beheading videos and so on. I haven't seen one either, Matsutake. I've deliberately stayed away. I think it would brutalise me. But yeah, look, I just don't. If for argument's sake, the argument could be made that if YouTube wasn't providing these videos, then this, who knows whether this guy would have killed those people. He was only doing it for notoriety, because others are doing it for notoriety.
Yeah. And the sad thing, especially on YouTube, is that if, for example, a popular song is at the background when you're doing a YouTube video, your video will be gone within an hour or less, because YouTube has a deal with Hollywood basically, and if they hear a song, or they have algorithms to verify that the song is a popular song and it's under copyright, your account may even be removed. And with this, it stayed up for a couple of hours. So. That's sad. That's a sad story, right? When it comes to copyright, we can remove content as soon as possible, but when it comes to murdering somebody, it stays up for I don't know how many hours. That's a sad story, isn't it?
It's hypocrisy.
Yeah, probably.
Hypocrisy for the sake of money.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's the financial incentive, I mean, or disincentive, isn't it? If you allow copyrighted materials, then someone can sue you, and it's going to hurt you financially. I mean, obviously, then the companies have a more immediate, urgent, vested interest in avoiding such.
Yeah. All right, let's move on before I get too depressed and cry. Which country is the most active in social media? Philippines beats all countries when it's the most active country for social media usage. A study by Opera Software.
Well, this article presents the numbers for Opera Mini. The Opera Mini is quite an interesting browser because what it does, it minimizes and compresses web pages. So, especially on low-end phones or where the network connections aren't that great, Opera Mini is the best browser whatsoever. There are some limits with Opera Mini, especially when it comes down to JavaScript. Not every JavaScript function works, so it is a limited browser, but it is, when it comes down to compression and speed, it is amazing.
Yeah, no, I like Opera Mini. That could also indicate the results might be slightly skewed, because I think Opera Mini is popular in places where low-end smartphones are more prevalent, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and mobile networks aren't available or not available as in other countries, right?
The market share for adoption rate of Opera Mini has gone 41% in last June 2014 to 55% June 2015, and that's over 14% increment. And they're still catching up. How are they working? I think that taking top 100 devices preferred by Opera Mini. Sure. Cherry Mobile. Cherry is what? A browser? I'm sorry, I'm not aware of Cherry.
Me neither.
It says Opera Mini users shows that Cherry Mobile has taken over Samsung. I think so. That's a default Samsung browser. Cherry Mobile. What is Cherry Mobile? Is it a mobile phone? Because it has 27% of market share. So I probably think it's a browser.
Yeah, apparently it's a Filipino mobile phone electronics company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they have a phone. If you go to their website, cherrymobile.com.ph, then you see what phones they've got. They run on KitKat, I think. Yeah, so they're not exactly the high-end phones, but it probably meets the needs of people who have those phones. And it seems that when they do use their phones, they go to social media networks and social media sites.
Yeah.
86% of page views by Opera Mini users in the Philippines are on social networking sites, the highest percentage among the top 50 Opera Mini user countries. Facebook clearly dominates Twitter, WordPress, Tumblr, Pinterest, and Lurky, or Lurky, I don't know how do you pronounce it, and I don't know what it does. Also in the list of top 20 most visited sites.
That's quite a number.
Yeah, and I'm wondering why Google isn't doing something like Opera Mini. They have the Android One phone, right? Those are low-end phones, cheap low-end phones.
Yeah.
I think they're testing it out in India now. But still, Chrome is a heavy user when it comes down to megabytes that it downloads. So if Google would have something like a Chrome Mini, where Google servers compress all the files and then send it out, sure, with limited JavaScript.
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead, Mastagi.
Sorry. I think it does make sense to have sort of Android Lite browser. It used to be Android browser, weren't they? And then now it's essentially Chrome. So yeah, it would be good to have that kind of lightish browser.
Yeah, because Opera Mini is the only browser in this particular space, right? Or are there other browsers that I'm not aware of? I don't think there is something for Firefox. I think Opera is the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
And I was just saying for mobile, yes, Opera is one of the most recommended. In fact, a lot of people use it on desktop as well. With slow internet connection, they prefer Opera.
Yeah, Opera's good. I like it as a browser.
Well, I don't like it as a browser. For Linux, it's quite slow, at least for me. But the Opera Mini, that's it. It's a really interesting browser. I think we discussed this now, no?
Okay, let's move on to the next. This one, finally, Facebook allows animated GIFs in posts and ads. I like the line in this where it says, even a stupid, boring post can be made interesting using moving imagery via a video or GIF.
Well, that tells us that we are stupid.
Well, actually, Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, didn't like GIFs. So that's why it wasn't available. Now it seems to be everywhere.
Yeah. Goes back to the first topic we talked about to a certain extent, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
In a sense, ads, you could argue, is fine in that Facebook or whatever advertising platform it is would have vetted the content. So, it's not as if some advertiser is going to use beheading video to promote something.
Have you tried it on page yet, uploading, Edwin? Because I tried uploading a GIF on Facebook page, so I don't think it's open to anyone except pages that are advertising on Facebook.
Yeah, as far as I understand, it's only available for ads.
Yeah, it's only available for that because they did mention pages, but it doesn't matter whether you have a page or not. If you are doing advertisement, it's going to help you only then. It's the only area they're going to allow this.
Yeah, and it is not the boost post, right? Okay. Or is it?
I'm not sure whether it's going to consider it for the similar purpose, but Facebook considers everything in advertisement. If they are taking GIFs uh, into advertisement segment, I don't think they'll frame themselves for boost post types ad.
I don't think so either.
I hate GIFs. I don't know, for some reason I hate it. I don't like it. Maybe most of them I've seen is nasty or just creepy or just like waste, trash. So I don't know how are they going to really work with the advertisements for GIFs. Videos just is a better, I think, play for it.
You know what? I would dispute that having a video in a post increases post engagement by 3 to 5 times, but often by even more. I don't think that's accurate, because I mean, let's look at our own usage. I wouldn't. I mean, it's all you can do to get me to click the start button on a video. You know, because
See,
there's a minute of
Jim,
my life.
See, Jim, the advertisement videos are completely different. They have a very focused point, right? If you look at any videos that are meant for only advertisement, and if you just hop onto YouTube and you see videos running through, I don't know if videos at your end type, but videos when I see on YouTube and there are advertisement video ads goes in between, right? They're very interesting. I like them. Some are hardly 3 seconds, 4 seconds, but they are interesting. Maybe it's a type of video. It really helps. If there is a very social cause that goes on and there is a video form advertisement for it, I actually go through it. I really watch it. I mean,
Okay,
And,
like
and
I'm a
it's
little bit different. In fact, I always remember a post from AJ Cohn where he wrote a post and he said, "Dear YouTube, it's safe to assume that we all want to skip the video." Skip. Yeah. I mean, I always click the skip button. Always. I'd say this year maybe 3 or 4 times. I've probably waited through an ad because the ad was so compelling, but it's the exception for me rather than the norm. Although I'm not denying, I'm not disputing your take on it, Maher. But for me, I mean, I'm a YouTube victim. I'm addicted to Russian dash cams. But the ads, every time I see an ad, I look for the skip button.
you wait 5 seconds for it, same like me. But some ads are really compelling. You want to see it till the end.
on YouTube, I sometimes just wait until the ad is over because the ad is not relevant for me. Just to mess with Google. I don't need high heels, Jim.
Well, that's not what Masataki told me, Edwin.
Oh.
Oh, don't bring me into this.
Luckily, Google has tailored things to me. For some reason, I don't get boring or stupid ads. I really get very interesting social ads. I mean, the only ad that I get and I see is Dove shampoo. But then, other than that, I don't see any other ads. And Dove shampoo is like 5 seconds. You don't even have to wait for the skip button. It gets over by then.
Well, frequently on YouTube I get ads about how to put on lipstick and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking, oh, Well, I'm just going to wait because I know next day I'm going to get more of those. just my own humor.
So it's lipstick and high heels for you, Edwin.
Yeah, it's quite girly stuff I get on YouTube. And I just wait until the ad is over, so I'm just messing with Google a little bit. But with regard to the Facebook, if you get higher engagement, like more likes, people stay more on that particular post, your relevance score goes up, which is somewhat similar to the quality score on AdWords. So for marketers on Facebook, it's quite interesting to have more engagement, and if GIFs can provide that, of course they're going to do that. Maybe 3 to 5 times is a little bit high, but yeah, if they can get more engagement, the relevance score goes up, and the cost will lower.
I have $100 credit Facebook gifted me recently. I'm gonna test all 3 types of ads and see which really works. $20 each, and I'm gonna test it out on a different page of mine. See, I think this really depends on a platform also that you use, because Facebook is like what people really share is photographs and videos and a very I think viral articles and just slight updates of posts that I've seen across in my at least homepage. So I think for Facebook, the audience that Facebook has, it might really work for them. I haven't seen any such ad somehow. I haven't seen any ad that is a GIF ad. So I'm not sure how it's actually going to perform.
Okay. All right. Shall we move on?
Yes, please.
I'm recording that as a yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we have Facebook Moments now automatically creates movies from your photos.
Yeah, it is pretty much a rip-off from Google+. I think it was 2 years ago during the launch of Auto Enhance, and that from different photos Google would create an automated GIF, and now Facebook has the same for a specific app which is called Google or Facebook Moments.
Facebook Moments. Wasn't Facebook doing an annual moment for everyone on Facebook? What is because I remember what Facebook did. Eventually, on your birthdays and every new year, they're gonna make automatically. There was a software that you get to select for a gas, and there's a video run for it. Then, is it similar to that? It's gonna do it for every pictures that you would like to?
I haven't tested it, but
I haven't even.
as far as I know, Moment is an app for photo sharing and video sharing. I haven't installed it. Let us see what Google Play gives. Yeah, it's basically a photo sharing app.
Mm-hmm. Seriously, Facebook really wants to make app for everything?
Yeah. Oh, I cannot install it. That's why. Oh, okay.
But I'm honestly, I'm very glad to say that finally there is something that is Facebook behind with, at least when it comes to Google.
Yeah. Google is pretty good with photos. Right, they had their auto upload to Google Plus, and now it's Google Photos. Google's pretty good at photos. Before Google Plus, there was, of course,
Picasa.
yeah, that one, which was pretty good. It still exists, I think, but
You can still access if you have the URLs, because I tried checking it out. You can, but even though if you try to access it, it takes you to photos.google, I think, or to your Google Photographs.
Not now. It used to. What used to happen was you were taken from picassoweb.google.com to Google Plus Photos, but after the separation of Photos from Google Plus, if you go to Google Plus Photos, then you're redirected to Google Photos, but if you go to Picasso Web, then it stays there. Because,
it stays there?
Yeah, because there's certain things that you can't do on Google Photos, and the best way to do certain things on the photos is actually to go to Picasso Web.
Mm-hmm.
Picasso Web is some sort of a Photoshop, no? Or
no, there are two things. There's the Picasso, the photo editing program.
To the desktop?
Yeah, you can have desktop version of that. And then there's Picasso Web Albums. That's the online albums. So you could, if you have Picasso, the program, then you can synchronize it with web albums. That's been going on for a very long time, I think. But when I say Picasso, it's really Picasso Web Albums. So it's picassoweb.google.com. That's where you find all your photos that you see on Google Photos, if that makes sense. So it's the same photos, but you're viewing it and organizing it and doing things to it on a different UI.
I did use Picasso a lot, but when I started accessing Google Photos, I actually moved to it. I haven't been, onto that link, because I remember, like you said, since they were actually separated, I think I didn't access it after that. When it was diverting, that's the reason I moved to Google Plus Photos. I haven't actually checked Picasso for a long time. I didn't even knew, if you just go onto it, you stick to it. You don't move back to Photos.
Yeah, they've been changing that for a while. So they've been possibly changing the redirect.
I had no idea. But that's very interesting, because Picasso is, I think, the desktop tool again is very awesome. I really liked it. At that point in time when I was using it, I liked it. And I wouldn't deny admitting it, but I liked it more than Google Photos.
Yeah, there are more functions.
Yeah.
The problem is that there are fewer functions on Google Photos than there were with other platforms. So hopefully Google Photos will become better and become, will have more features. But at the moment, if you want to do certain things, you have to go to Picasso Web Albums.
Okay, just to be clear, but photographs remain on the same side, right? You see those changes in Photos as well, right?
Sorry, could you repeat that? I couldn't quite catch.
So if there's something that I do in Picasso,
yeah,
right, it stays there, but does it also reflect in Google Plus Photos?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Because it's essentially one photograph everywhere. So you're seeing the same photograph, same image in many different locations at the moment, because there are many ways of actually editing your photographs or accessing the same photograph. You could go to Google Drive, and there are two paths on Google Drive. If you go to your Google Drive, you would see a Photos section. If on desktop, you'd see it on your left-hand side menu. That's the same as Google Photos. It's sort of one-to-one. Then if you go to My Drive and expand that, then you see Google Photos again. And there it's organized as Google Drive, My Drive, Google Photos, year and month. So I like that view because it's, I can see the file names and things like that. Then you can still access images on your Google Plus. It's a bit difficult, but you still can. And then you can access your images on Picasa Web Albums. So the one thing that I have to stress is that don't delete anything unless you really want it to be gone totally from your entire Google landscape. So if you delete an image one place, that means deletion everywhere. So that sometimes has caused grief because people thought, oh, I'm going to delete from here, but it actually meant deleting from everywhere.
I promise I'm not going to touch anything until I really do want it off my net.
Exactly. I mean, it's a bit unfortunate, but it has happened, so it's worth repeating. Don't delete unless you're really, really sure that you want that image to be gone, absolutely ever gone.
Okay, so have we covered this?
Yeah, I think.
Any other items of interest in the world of social media this week?
Yeah, I would like to ask people who've seen this video and have used Facebook. That's mentions, right?
I'm sorry, Meher, but go ahead and say what it was.
This is Facebook Moments, sorry. Facebook Moments. If anybody has any experience with that, they can obviously share their feedback.
I still didn't get it. I must be getting
Anyone
old.
who has experience with Facebook Moments, they've tested it out, they've tried it out, and had their experiences up with it, do share it because I would like to know because I haven't used it and I didn't get an opportunity to even look at it. If there is something called Facebook Moments, I didn't have my hands onto it.
So you would like anyone listening to go to the Social Media Fridays on Monday community and update this post that starts off 2 years behind Google.
Yeah, I would like to have their feedback as well.
Okay. All right. Let me click this button, and it's thank you for watching. I see we still have eyes watching us, and for that we thank you. Your interest in what we do makes what we do here worthwhile. We'll be back at the same time. Actually, I should say I'm just about to put a link into this Hangout into the Social Media Fridays community. It'll be the top post there, and we'd like to have you join us. If we won't be on the air, but we'd certainly love to have a chat with you. Anyway, we'll be back at the same time next week.